Now I want to get to the most important story of the night. And you notice all week we've been covering this. We've been talking about vaccines. We've had multiple medical doctors on, Andrew Wakefield, Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, and others, to go over the fact this is a premeditated eugenics operation to implant the population with soft kill cancer viruses, amongst other programs, including reduced fertility and outright sterilization. And I'm going to play a video clip coming up in a few minutes of one of the top Merck scientists, one of the co-developers of some of the most famous vaccines out there, from a PBS documentary produced in Boston, where he had, well, I mean, the full interview is online. We're actually sending off to the station to get the original. I saw this more than a decade ago, but now it's on the internet, cut up in lots of different pieces. We're going to play one of those here. But this is one of the top vaccine developers. Earlier, he admits that, yeah, AIDS came from monkeys that they use the kidneys for. But that's not even in this report. We'll do that next week. Just, oh, yeah, the government created AIDS. Ha, 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 you know. Yeah, it's in the vaccines. But then he goes on and says, yeah, we found out there was cancer viruses that cause leukemia in the vaccines and all these others. Now we don't need him to laugh, and he's since died. This interview was done more than a decade ago. Laugh about it to know that this is true. I have new scientists, the rest of it, admitting this. But that's why breast cancer has tripled since 1980. That's why, in general, most types of cancers have doubled in the last decade. So most of that growth is just in the last 10 years. That's why we're having all these autoimmune responses in the pancreas and the brain, and the increase of autism, and, of course, things like diabetes. I mean, here's the UK government with UN numbers breaking it down. You notice that the most vaccinated countries in the world are Australia, New Zealand, and North America, and they have the highest cancer rates in the world. And then right beneath that, Europe is a close third behind the Britannic nations. That's really what the U.S., Canada, England, Australia, New Zealand are, as globalist commonwealths. In fact, let's replay that again. I want people to see this map. And again, notice, and you can go check the numbers. The highest vaccination areas in the world all correspond with the highest rates of cancer. Australia, New Zealand, most vaccination, most cancer. North America, Canada, the U.S., second highest. Western Europe, third highest. Northern Europe, fourth highest. Southern Europe, again, it follows it precisely right through. And look at the Middle East. Look at Africa, where they run from the vaccines and have figured out that the medicine man's coming to kill their butt. They've got the lowest levels out there. Absolutely incredible to see that information. Okay, now, I've gone over the global cancer rates, massively increasing. And you get varied numbers, but conservatively doubled in the last 30 years. But a lot of rare types have more than quadrupled. Some types of lung cancer more than sevenfold. It's just mind-blowing to see all of this. Now, continuing, I want to talk about all the well-meaning mothers and fathers who shave their heads to raise cancer awareness, and all the jogging events and sporting events. And I have friends and family that go to them and, pay money to run in races to donate it. And they'll show some little kids saying, I'm going to die in the next month. Please give money to cancer research, on and on and on. Well, look, all they do with chemotherapy is charge you tens of thousands of dollars a month for cheap bug poison. And that's all it is patented bug poison approved. And they love kids because they can fight and live a long time. So Big Pharma can suck a lot of money out of them. Instead of just being useful idiots for the New World Order, how about we talk about why breast cancer's tripled, or why this is becoming so epidemic worldwide, but especially in the West? I mean, why don't we actually look at the causes of this? I mean, here's some of the stories. Teams across the country lace up for pediatric cancer. 46 mothers shave their heads for childhood cancer awareness. Young Nuggets fan inspired others during valiant cancer fight. Race teams run for pediatric cancer. Well, let's just go over now some of the causes. 60 lab studies now confirm cancer link to a vaccine you probably had as a child. That, of course, is the polio shot. And by the way, it's still in there. Here's another one, Science. Polio vaccine linked to cancer. And that's New Scientist, you name it, all reporting on that. Now let's look at some of the others. Here's London Guardian. Fluoride water causes cancer. Boys at risk for bone tumors. Yeah, 7-fold increase in boys, 3-fold in girls. Shock research reveals. That's been out since the 30s. It's not shock research. Study links fluoride to bone cancer in mid. WebMD. On and on and on. So they've been adding this to the water, along with hundreds of other chemicals, in the cover name of fluoride. You see, how about instead of giving money to the big pharma companies that basically use the cancer research systems as a way to suppress the real cures and treatments and to control the debate and research, instead of just being gullible and giving your little girl stuff in bisphenol A cups and giving people the GMO and all the lab studies that gives lab rats cancer and then drinking the sodium fluoride and giving them all the shots. How about you actually find out, instead of just going, man, let's find a cure, how about we find out what's causing it to begin with? It's like, let's find out a way, if an 18-wheeler runs over you and breaks, 50 bones, let's find a way to fix those bones quicker. How about we just find out why people are playing in interstate traffic, traffic? See what I'm saying? Instead of, hey, people are falling off 50-story buildings and dying, let's figure out how to make people bounce better and not die when they hit the bottom. How about we just don't jump off buildings? I mean, I'm just throwing some analogies out here, or parables right now, to try to get you to think. Why don't we talk about why it's increasing, why it's skyrocketing? Just so happens I have all these government documents we covered the last 2 nights here, where it's all engineered, where it's eugenics. Now, this is a long clip, and this is from a WGBH. I remember seeing this online a decade ago, and I can't dig up the original, but we're going to order it and figure out how to get a copy. Or if you have one, please send it to us. And of course, when this guy died in 2005, they praised him. This is from an online compilation where people basically cut it up. But it's Dr. Maurice Hilleman talking about how there was cancer viruses in the vaccines. You name it, all different types of cancers. Very powerful information. Stay with us.
Well, I got an invitation from the Sister Kinney Foundation, which was the opposing foundation, and that was the live virus.
Oh, right.
Yeah, they had jumped on Saban's bandwagon. And they had asked me to come down and give a talk at the Sister Kinney Foundation meeting. And I said, it was an international meeting. I thought, God, what am I going to talk about? I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk about the detection of non-detectable viruses as a topic. So now I got to have something, that's going to attract attention. So I thought, gee, that damn SV40. I mean, that vacuolating agent that we have. I'm going to just pick that particular one. That virus has got to be in vaccines. And it's got to be in Saban's vaccine, so I quickly tested it. Sure enough, it was in there. And
I'll be damned.
So now, so I go ahead and...
So you just took stocks of Saban's vaccine off the shelf here at Merck?
Yeah, well, that had not been made at Merck. It was made at Merck.
You were making it for Saban at this point?
Yeah, it was made before I came.
Yeah, but at this point, Saban is still just doing these massive field trials? Okay.
In Russia and so forth. So I go down, I talked about the detection of non-detectable viruses. I told Albert...
But at this point, Saban is still just doing these massive field trials? Okay.
In Russia and so forth. So I go down, I talked about the detection of non-detectable viruses. I told Albert, I said, listen, Albert, I said, you and I are good friends. But I said, I'm going to go down there and you're going to get upset. But I'm going to talk about a virus that's in your vaccine. Now, you're going to get rid of the virus. Don't worry about it. You're going to get rid of it. But, so of course Albert was very upset with me.
What did he say?
Well, he said basically that this is just another obfuscation that is going to upset vaccines. And I said, well, you're absolutely right. But I said, we have a new era here. We have a new era of a detection. And the important thing is to get rid of these viruses.
Why would he call it an obfuscation if it was a virus that was contaminating
the
vaccines?
Because, there are 40 different viruses in these vaccines anyway that we were inactivating. And...
But you weren't inactivating his, though.
That's correct. No, that's right. But yellow fever vaccine had leukemia virus in it, and This is in the days of very crude science. So anyway, I went down and talked to him, and I would say, well, why are you concerned about it? I said, well, I'll tell you what. I said, I have a feeling in my bones that this virus is different. I don't know why to tell you this, but I've been around biology a long time. I just think this virus may have some long-term effects. And he said, what? I said, well, cancer.
I love it. I love it. Go ahead.
No. I said, Albert, I said, you probably think I'm nuts, but I just have that feeling. Well, in the meantime, we had taken this virus and put it into into hamsters. So we had this meeting, and that was sort of the topic of the day, and the jokes that were going around was, gee, we would win the Olympics because the Russians would all be loaded down with tumors. This is where the vaccine was being tested. This was
right. Right.
So, and it really destroyed the meeting around. You know, it was a big interaction.
Yeah, right.
So it was sort of a topic. You know.
Why didn't this get out in the press?
Well, I guess it did. I don't remember. We had no press release on it. Obviously, you don't go out. This is a scientific affair within the scientific community.
Again, I saw this a decade ago online, and it's since been grabbed and chopped up. We're going to try to get the original from WGBH Public Television, Boston, of Dr. Maurice Hilleman. This is from several decades ago, but I saw it online when video was first becoming popular on the web, and that's what people have gotten off the web and cut up. That's why the quality is so low. Early video streaming on the web was more like a slideshow, as you know. But this video clip's been getting more attention again lately. But I just want to remind you, in fact, here it is right here. I had it down here. You can go to, if you give me a document cam shot. Again, you can find thousands of mainstream news articles. Here's New Scientist with the headline, Science Polio Vaccine Linked to Cancer, SV40. It's just interesting to see the guy sitting there making jokes about all of this. And then earlier in the interview, he talks about HIV from monkeys they use for vaccines. And it was being tested in Russia and it was killing Russians, so what? And it really gives you a mindset into these people. Because as he said, we didn't even bother to warn anybody. Just screw it. Why warn anybody?